process describes removing the molding from the existing Pergo, XP, and Presto display boards that are remaining in any one fixture. Begin by removing the display board from the fixture. It's easiest to remove the display board after you've removed your POP panel. Once you've removed the POP panel, loosen the eye bolts underneath the display board, slide the display board up, tilt it upward, and it will easily come out of the fixture. We're removing the molding from the display board for two reasons. One, because the existing molding is peeling off select boards. Two, because the molding supplier is changing from Pergo to Zama. We want to make sure that the decors are accurately represented on each board. We're now going to begin the process of removing the existing molding from the display boards. First of all, make sure you wear safety gloves. This is exceptionally important so you don't risk cutting your hands. You also need to make sure that you're using either the Husky 6-in-1 or 14-in-1 painter's tool. Regular putty knives are too sharp around the edges and can gouge the board potentially. Begin by putting the 6-in-1 tool at an angle underneath the molding that's been being removed and run this along the length of the board. You'll note that we're pushing this against something for leverage so that the board is not sliding while we're doing this. We're going to be using certain types of adhesive removers to get this residue off the board. Make sure we want to protect the board first prior to doing this. So what we need to do is use 2-inch clear tape around the top edge, same side that the molding has been on, and the bottom edge. Once we've got that tape on board, we're going to pull it around the sides to protect it so that the liquid and adhesive residue remover does not get inside this part. This is made of high-density fiberboard. If high-density fiberboard gets wet, it can swell and ruin the board. So this is a very important step. We're going to make sure we use grease lightning for this particular step. Do not use crud cutter. Do not use any other type of adhesive remover other than grease lightning. You can get this in either the cleaning or the paint department. SKU information will be provided. Cover up the product card with a blue paper towel or any other kind of paper towel so we don't get damage on this particular product card. Then we're going to lightly saturate the area where the remaining molding residue was located. Let this sit for about 30 seconds before you start removing the existing residue from the board. I was careful not to get any on existing side joints or end joints of the plank. If you get any on these joints, it can permeate, causing the joints to bow up and warp. We're now going to scrape the residue off the board. You can use a fair amount of force here without damaging the board, but you do need to make sure once again that you're using the Husky 6-in-1 or 14-in-1 painter's tool. Use a fair amount of force to get the existing residue off the board. You probably want to keep a bucket or something, a trash bin handy, so that we can throw away this residue. Once we've gotten the initial residue off the board, go ahead and wipe the board clean because you've had as much saturation as you need. After I finish scraping the main portion of the tape residue and HDF off, I also wanted to make sure I took that tape off quickly so that any remaining moisture that may have been trapped up under here didn't get it seep into here to ruin the board. Next, we're going to remove the smaller residue from the board. You note that it might be difficult to see sometimes when you look at certain angles, there's still tape residue here. For this, we're going to use goof-off heavy-duty wipes. The first step is going to take a goof-off wipe and run it thoroughly along the length of the board. You really want to do this process and any additional scraping if needed until the residue is completely gone and you can no longer see any remaining residue. So right now I've still got a little bit of residue left. The simplest way to counteract this is to put your scraper back on the board, keep it at a higher angle, push down on the scraper right here, and you'll notice that when you do this, that you get lots of smaller residue coming off the board. Now after you've removed the remaining residue from the display board using the goof-off wipes, make sure you wipe it dry with a paper towel. We're next going to put our coordinating molding or our new coordinating molding on these display boards. Use the spreadsheet on the first page of the project detail PDF and match it up with the name and the number on the molding. Now we're going to peel off the adhesive strip on the back of the molding. We're going to align it with the right side of this orange arrow box. That keeps it consistent from one sort to the next. Make sure the bottom of your molding is aligned also with the top of the product card. When you're doing this, you're probably going to want to eyeball it to make sure that your distance from the edge of the board to the edge of the molding is consistent across. Put the molding on the display board when aligned properly and press it down firmly. Then you're just about done.